What's going on, Gemini? How are you doing? Hope you're doing super well. This is the Autistic Mystic, and this is going to be your reading for the rest of January 2024. So in this reading, Gemini, we're going to take a look at your overall general energy, some things you do not see coming, and also get some advice from your angels and spirit guides for you, and so much more regarding January 2024. But before we begin this reading, Gemini, as always, I do want to take a moment to let you know that you are very welcome here in this space with me as we go through this reading, and I really do appreciate you in advance, Gemini, for taking the time to check this reading out. Now, if this general reading does happen to resonate with you, definitely smash that like button, subscribe down below if you have not already for future updates. I would also really appreciate that over here, Gemini. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pull the energy and see what wants to come through for you for the rest of January 2024. As always, I would like to thank the angels, the interdimensional beings, and the spirit guides who are overseeing this act of divination for the sign of Gemini. All right, hold on. Let's see what we got here for you, Gemini. All right. Interesting energy that you got going on here, Gemini, for sure. Let's go ahead and start this reading off before we get into the tarot with some pre-shuffled oracle cards. And these oracle cards contain the energy that you need more of, the energy that Spirit wants you to really embody and be in for the rest of January. And the first one that Spirit wants you to focus on is the fourth house of home and family. So this is definitely for you to focus on your roots. Okay, there may be a growing sensation for a lot of you going into the 2024 year of where is my home? You know, where do I belong in the world? Now, for those of you dealing with a pre-existing home, you know, let's say that you have a base here, you don't plan on moving, definitely focusing on sprucing it up or potentially even upgrading it in some sort of way. But for many of you who are kind of like, you don't really feel you belong anywhere, I feel like this is also a sub-message just for the year of it's going to be increasingly more important for you to find maybe not a permanent home, but a base, somewhere where the boxes and the bills get sent. You know, I feel like this is, in 2024, you may really, especially in January, feeling like focusing on home and family is something really key for you. Now, for others of you, I definitely feel like there's a need for you to focus on how your home, your family, your ancestral influence is influencing you to this day. And perhaps how, you know, focusing on some of the blessings of your ancestors, but also, and your home and family life, your upbringing, but also focusing on how it is stunting you to this day. Because so many people, especially the unawakened, go through life in this like haze of just acting out trauma from their childhood. So definitely, especially in the overall general energy, I do feel like there's a little bit of shadow work as that. Now, if you do have kids, you might want to be looking at, you know, reducing the negative influence of your own stuff on your children. And for those of you thinking about having children one day, or maybe you're getting ready for that, this is definitely something you're going to be focused on, like researching about home and family. For some of you, this is going to be shadow work with how you've been impacted and how the very choices that you're making today are affected by that. Okay, but for others of you, it's just more focusing on home improvement. Okay, and potentially for some of you, there could be a real challenge here of family. You know, do I want a family? Do I not? Especially if you're younger, you're single, even if you're older, whatever. So let's just keep going. The next energy that you need more of is Saturn. life lessons. Saturn is the planet of boundary, order, structure, discipline, hard work, doing everything the hard way, cutting no corners. And, they say Saturn is father time. So Saturn usually restricts you in the first half of life, but in the second half of life gives you whatever you've put in the work to do, Saturn will bless you with. So this is definitely about creating some sort of boundary and structure within the home for many of you. Okay, so in whatever way that makes sense for you. This also could have to do with, ideas about disciplining children. What is the proper way to do that? These are all things that you need to be thinking about here. So you do have Saturn, and so limits and lessons. This is also, Saturn is a planet of karma and the past. So absolutely, for many of you, focusing on your ancestral karma. What is it in this life? Why did you incarnate into this body? What are the blessings of your ancestors, right? For me, it's like one of my grandfathers was a great public speaker and teacher. So I incarnated in this body to take on the blessing of that. But there's other things in my family where, there's a lot of trauma that I've took on. I had to look at that, the lessons, how do I transmute it? These are all things you're going to be dealing with as well. Now you also have Venus, love, and beauty. And Venus has to do with what makes you feel good. It's what turns you on. It's also relationships here. So it's interesting. Last week you had Chiron and Mercury, and this week you have Venus and Saturn. And the funny thing about this is that I actually have a very strong Venus-Saturn conjunction in my chart, so I could tell you all about this. So what this is, the Venus-Saturn conjunction, the first thing that I'll tell you is that you'll never meet someone over the age of 40 with a Venus-Saturn conjunction in their birth chart who is poor. People with Venus-Saturn are very good at making money, but they're even better at holding on to it. Now, in the first half of life, anyone with a Venus-Saturn conjunction, your capacity for relationships will be limited. But once you learn the hard lessons, you're going to be blessed. And it's also a very, this is the aspect of the business love. Because here's the thing about this is the energy that you need to bring to your life in some sort of way before we get into the tarot. So just please let me rant. Thank you. The thing about a Venus-Saturn conjunction is that it combines love with structure. Your love for this month is meant to be structured. Okay, there has to be a boundary. So perhaps setting boundaries in relationships, especially within the home and especially with people in the family, this could be a little bit cold. People with a Venus-Saturn conjunction can be perceived as a little bit cold because their love is serious, And so that's why so many of you, this frequency is why many of you enjoy listening to my readings. Why? It's because my love cannot be separated from my strictness. Right? So I give you a lot of love, but it's a little bit harsh. But then on the flip side of it, my strictness and my boundary cannot be separated from my love either. So it's like even when I'm digging into you, it's merged with this love. So this is a bit of tough love. This is an aspect of tough love here. So there may have to be a decision that you have to make with putting up boundaries within family. And love isn't only about unconditional acceptance, but also order, structure. These are the things that you need to take into account. Also, you might need a little bit of a challenge in order to really be turned on. This is me getting a little bit vulnerable here, but with the Venus-Saturn conjunction in my chart, things like restriction and love are great. If I'm doing something with anyone in any sort of intimate way and they just lay there, Venus, I'm like, what the hell is it? I need a little bit of restriction. I need a challenge or else I'm not going to be interested, okay? So for me, it's like my love can't be separated from my strictness. My strictness, though, can't be separated from my love. So it's this beautiful balance. And this is what you need in some sort of way in your life. And I do feel for many of you, there to start the year, you're absolutely going to be focusing on, and this is also a blend of the masculine and feminine energy. Potentially, this is why I can get away with wearing a scarf today. Okay, but never mind that. To start the year, there is absolutely going to be shadow work. Okay, shadow work being done here. But there's also a situation developing in love for you with a person in January 2024, Gemini, that I believe there's going to be a challenge for you to both overcome that's actually going to make you grow closer together. Okay, so interesting opening messages, to say the least. Now, let's start with your opportunity for this month. Your opportunity this month is the world. This is to realize that you've gone through the hero's journey. Your soul is coming full circle now. And in your overall general energy, you do have the Fool, which is a beautiful balance here. 2 major arcana cards. So there's definitely a fresh start. I do feel like you're going to feel like this is a fresh start to the year, but more so towards, I'm going to be honest, towards the end of January, you'll start to feel better. When it comes to the first half of January, even as you're listening to now, what I sense for you is a lot of processing or dealing with a relationship potentially in the home and family, someone you're dealing with, do I want to start a family? Whatever's going on for you, there's a lot of processing here. But with the world being here, you're due for an upgrade. You've learned hard lessons. And, I just have to say, the world being your opportunity and Saturn being in what you need more of, I feel like due to the lessons that you've learned, due to the hard experiences that you have went through, especially to do with love, home, family, Venus conjunct Saturn, seriousness and love combined, I do feel like there's this sense of you've learned your lessons. Some of you could be going through right now as we speak a very traumatic experience with love, potentially in an intimate situation or home and family to do with your loved ones, that you just feel like you're being taught all these lessons, potentially through your children, potentially through your parents, potentially through someone at home, or potentially through an intimate partner, that you're just like, why am I going through all these lessons right now as we speak? But then Saturn is going to be through with you. And Saturn will say, you've learned your lesson, now enjoy the good life. But you couldn't cut corners. So what I'm here to tell you is that, if you feel like you're dealing with really difficult situations and boundaries in love, and why does love have to be so serious, and you're where you need to be. You're about to go through an upgrade. Your challenge is the 9 of Cups. And I feel like, some of you could be dealing with a selfish person that is really throwing you off. Whether this was a recent breakup that you went through, potentially to do with the home and family, a soul family member, a parent, a child, something to do with your home, a breakup. I do feel like for a lot of you, there's this intuitive message about someone being a little bit selfish, cold, that's throwing you off. Now, for others of you, and for most of you, what I actually sense in January 2024, specifically with this challenge, Gemini, is that it's going to be a challenge for you to actually put yourself first and to set a boundary. Because the thing about this is that you see one person who's happy. All their ducks are in a row. All their cups are behind them in a good way. So with the challenge here, I absolutely feel like you still have to, your boundary must contain love. Just like when I rip into you as a Saturn disciplinarian in these readings, you can tell he's not just doing it with Saturn. No, there's Venus infused with it. I actually have a Venus-Saturn Sun conjunction, so my soul is contained this within well, but it's not about me, it's about you. I'm sorry. And what I'm trying to say is you need to set a boundary potentially with someone in the home, family, and it has to be with a touch of love, but you really do need to set the boundary, and you do really need to put yourself first. So some of you are going to be dealing with a selfish person in your challenge for January 2024, and others of you are going to have to learn to create distance. You're going to have to learn to maintain relationships, but not to be a pushover, not to be a people pleaser. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to your overall general energy here, and I do feel for many of you, there will be a new relationship towards mid to late January that really pops up, or there could be someone that you're talking to right now, but you're just processing things, or it's developing. But I'm telling you, by the end of January, I feel like there's going to be a new relationship opportunity. Perhaps some of you heal something with a family member, soul family member, lover. And here's the thing. In your overall general energy for January 2024 Gemini, you have the 9 of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Fool. So there's a lot of stress, sleepless nights, order, boundary. King of Swords, very Saturn energy. And then you have the Fool, which is a new, fresh beginning. So with this being here, I definitely feel like there's a little bit of processing to do with boundary. Someone could be cold, someone could be selfish, and you're trying to work through this. But perhaps there's also a lesson here in that even if someone does something to you that is doesn't make you feel good, maybe there's wisdom in it still in some sort of way. And with this Fool here, I feel like there's going to be a new beginning in with you. So we're really going to have to clarify what this is about. This could be working through a really difficult situation in the home with a loved one, etc. Now, when it comes to what you don't see coming, it does get better. It does get better, but there still could be this weirdness around independence and boundary that you're still working through. Because when it comes to what you don't see coming, I mean, it is phenomenal for the most part. There's definitely going to be a sense of spiritual renewal. I mean, the Star, the Sun, and the Fool is absolute clarity and renewal in your life. But in what you don't see coming, you have the star and the sun, regeneration, healing, warmth, clarity. But then you also have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse here. Nine of Pentacles in reverse can be someone who is very financially independent, but perhaps for the wrong reasons. Perhaps they're too selfish. Perhaps they don't share it. So for some of you dealing with that selfish person, perhaps in the family, perhaps in a recent breakup, perhaps in love, or perhaps the new person you're dealing with in January, I feel like there is this sense of there is this new start. Like there's a lot of things you're working through with this Saturn-Venus conjunction, right? And this also could have to do with money as well, because like I said, in Vedic, I'm a Western astrologer, but in Vedic astrology, this is a wealth yoga. This is a wealth yoga. So this is definitely you to focus on your wealth and getting serious about your money and being good at holding on to money. So what I do sense in what you don't see coming is that this renewal could be so exciting to you that there may be a need to really focus on your money. There may be a little bit of a hiccup with your money, with your job situation, with your financial independence. But this is much bigger than just career, relationships. There's something going on at a soul level. Opportunity world, major arcana, fool, major arcana, sun, major arcana, star, major arcana. Something going on with your soul. So it's deeper than the surface level. So that's what I'll be focusing on in this reading. But it's going to bleed out into many different avenues for many of you. So it's interesting. It's interesting. So yeah, with this wealth yoga, I don't know. Let's see. When it comes to your advice, though, there may be a great relationship on the horizon for you as a result of Saturn being through with you, as a result of you processing, learning the hard lesson, doing it the hard way, doing love the hard way, having your heart broken. But now, with the world being in your advice, with the world being your opportunity, an upgrade, things coming full circle, a major closure to your life, and then you have this in your advice, the King of Pentacles, the Temperance card, and the Queen of Cups. This is your advice. For many of you, there is going to be a new relationship coming in that's going to be very harmonious, that Spirit is advising you to go for it now that you've learned your lesson here. But for those of you dealing with a career sense, there is something about infusing love and money, and it's so trippy to me that this is your advice, because when we talk about the Venus love, Saturn seriousness conjunction, we're dealing with some of the best business people on the planet, because people can tell that what they do is infused with love. Can you tell, or can you not tell, that when I'm doing these readings, I'm infusing it with my love? I'm trying. But this is what this is about. King of Pentacles, money. Queen of Cups, unconditional love. Right in the middle, you have the Temperance card, which is a merging, a harmony, a balancing both of these energies. So for many of you, whatever you've been doing in career, whatever you've been doing with business, if you've been too serious, you need to infuse it with love. If you've been too lovey, you see, I'm just going to sit here, close my eyes and manifest and do no hard work. Well, Saturn's going to slap you up the head and be like, what are you talking about, you little manifestation fluff cake? You still have to take action. You still have to do work. You cannot just sit here and receive. You see, there's something for nothing. I'm just going to manifest everything by sitting on the couch. Saturn's like, no, you still have to develop a plan, structure, organize it. So perhaps the idea of developing a business acumen with unconditional love is something that's going to upgrade you, allow you to make more money than you know what to do with in 2024. Venus conjunct Saturn. And this also has to deal with love. Because there could be a great balance, and there could be someone that I know I'm going all over the place, but I have to take it one at a time. There could be someone coming in where there's that balance of the feminine and the masculine within two people. A lot of you ladies out there, Gemini, you could be meeting in January 2024. This is the advice. Someone who is very business-minded. And for you, you could be the one who's loving, full of love, taking care of the children. So for many of you, there could be this idea opening up for you. Venus, Saturn, fourth house, home, and family. Of, you know what? Maybe there is a little bit of a traditional relationship developing here. Maybe there is a masculine man who makes money. Roles can be reversed as well. I'm not saying that. But for others of you more on an individual path, and you're not really focused on love and relationship at this, then these are the energies that you need to combine yourself. How can you do business in not a predatory way? You know what I mean? Do you know? Never mind. And by the way, you're wondering like who's in the company of, like, we're talking like this Venus Saturn energy. We're talking like Henry Ford. We're talking like big. never mind. But I just think a lot of great things are going on for you. But right now, as you're listening to this, you're still processing. Right now, up until mid-January, there's this thing. But there's a lot of healing. And this could have to do with healing someone who has been too cold within the family. Vice versa, too loving. There's a lot of balance, especially in your advice coming into your world, that's really going to suit you well. Really going to suit you well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start clarifying this reading. Let's go ahead, Gemini, and let's clarify why the world is in your opportunity. A lot of money with that Venus-Saturn wealth yoga. Oh, Lord, save me. I mean, definitely this thing coming through. I mean, there really could be a partner that you form a legacy with, and you have the whole... I mean, this is getting interesting. In your opportunity with the world, you have the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Pentacles, and you have the King of Wands. And once again, I mean, you see these two court cards here. There's definitely a new relationship, a balance between the masculine and the feminine. For many of you, if you're a woman, I feel like there's a man coming in. Or whoever you're into, I mean, there's just a good dynamic between masculine and feminine. But the real part of this is the Ten of Pentacles. This is literally the wealth yoga. And this is passion, enthusiasm. But I just feel like it's a relationship here that could have been healing as well. There could be something to do with your home and your family, Gemini. That you fix a relationship, you realize, okay, this is what went wrong, this is my ancestral trauma, whatever's going on, use your intuition, please, because there's so many possible manifestations of the overall general energy. But I feel like there's something being put right, and there's an upgrade, and I feel like for many of you, you have learned your Saturn lesson to do with money, or relationships. I just feel like there's a great opportunity with someone new coming in, whether this is someone that you're already in a family with that's going to be healed. And there's a proper balance between boundary and order. There's a proper boundary between discipline and saying no and saying yes and being open in love. There's just a good balance coming in for you. But first, there needs to be this really thinking about this whole process for you. Okay, so I think it's going to be a phenomenal month, but it just starts off a little bit rough, is honestly what I get. So let's clarify why the Nine of Cups. Why is the Nine of Cups in your challenge? And that's why I would like to give a personal apology to anyone in my life who's watching this video that feels I am cold. You see, I'm 26 years old. I have a Venus-Saturn conjunction. You're going to have to wait until I'm 30 for me to be all lovey-dovey. You're just going to have to wait. The only people who are going to experience the autistic mystic as lovey-dovey are my subscribers and the people I do readings for. Other than that, personal, wait till I'm 30. Thank you. 4 more years. And see, that's the Venus-Saturn. It's really... See, I have to deal with Venus-Saturn my whole life. I'm imprinted with this energy. You have to deal with it for a month. Why is the Nine of Cups here in your challenge? The Nine of Cups in your challenge is clarified by the Justice card, the Page of Cups, and the Eight of Swords when it comes to your challenge here, Gemini. So that's an interesting challenge. I do feel like you may be dealing, for many of you, with an immature person who is a little bit selfish in your challenge in some sort of way, potentially related to love or the home and family here, that you may be overcoming this loss. You may be overcoming this, this past experience of this. But for many of you, even in... you do have the Justice card to the Eight of Swords, so this is stuckness with selfishness. This is stuckness coming to an end for you. I feel the Justice card is going to release you from these bonds in some sort of way in your challenge. So whether you've been struggling to create boundary, to put yourself first, to not be a people pleaser, this is what you're going to be able to do. You're finally going to be able to create a boundary that's not mean. Not only Saturn, it's going to be infused with Venus. But for many of you who are dealing with someone who is quite the opposite, you're dealing with a very selfish person. I feel like there's a certain lesson. The Justice card has to do with putting things right. And there could be some sort of experience where the guard gets let down, or something just gets put right when it comes to the idea of boundary and selfishness and finding a fusing between the two in your personal life. So for many of you as well, I mean, there could have been an idea that, I'm just gonna live by myself. I don't need a family. I don't need anyone. And for some of you, that's coming to an end. And Spirit is advising you here. I mean, with the 10 of Pentacles, there's all these people. In your advice, you have the Queen of Cups, you have the King of Pentacles. In your opportunity, you have the King of Wands, you have the Queen of Pentacles. So with this idea of home and family, love, beauty, limits, lessons, you're going to have to interact with people this month. And because this is the challenge here, like, you can't do it on your own. Or there could be someone around you who's been trying to do it on their own that realizes they need you, etc. I just feel like things are being put right for you. It's a very spiritual month. It's a little bit hard for me to translate, but I'm doing my best. And that's all I can give. So let's keep going. Let's clarify what the Fool is here. What is this new beginning? What is this new beginning? Why is the Fool here in your overall general energy, Gemini, for January? Ace of Swords. That's good. Ah, yes, there is definitely a new relationship coming in for you. I'm telling you, by the end of the month. But it may involve you building a legacy with someone, structuring your home, getting serious. Here's the thing. Venus conjunct Saturn. Serious love. Serious love. And, man, the Fool, I mean, there could really be someone... Because the thing about people with a Venus-Saturn conjunction is their love life is usually limited, but then when they get older, they usually settle for life. And I feel like for many of you, you may have had to gone through, whether it's struggle in money or relationships, because Venus has to do with both. I feel like you've learned your lesson, and the universe is like, wow, they finally get it here. So let's give them something solid and reliable. The Fool card, a new beginning in your overall general energy, is clarified by the Two of Cups, relationship, soulmate potential, and the Knight of Pentacles, which is just absolute reliable, slow-moving energy. It's the slow cooker, It's the slow cooker. Like, there's actually, with the Venus-Saturn conjunction, I have a certain sicko sense of needing to build slowly. Like, there's a reason I don't just pump, go build so fast, I have a love of building slowly. And that, building a relationship slowly, money, doing it the proper way, cutting no corners, doing all the hard work, leaving no stone unturned, doing everything the hard way. Instead of Venus, hey, new earth, manifest my lover by doing absolutely nothing and masturbating all day. No, you're going to be absolutely stunned if you do that. You need to do it the hard way, and there's a relationship coming in for you that's absolutely going to allow you to do this. And for some of you, I definitely sense a relationship that has the good masculine, feminine polarity. If you're a Gemini man, you may be meeting a woman who just wants to stay home, take care of the kids. Oh God, am I being sexist? Oh God, oh God, oh God. Or if you're a woman, you may just meet someone who is just like the man who goes to the career, or roles can be reversed. The man can stay at home. But I just sense something great coming in a relationship for you. It's going to be so regenerating, so healing, and you've learned your lessons, I hope. Because if you haven't, then you got to do it all over again. But for most of you, there's going to be phenomenal, great new relationships coming in. Saturn, Venus conjunction. With that being said, we'll conclude this reading.